What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? You know what time it is. Episode 92 in the mix, big baby. Before we get started, you know what time it is. No financial advice on anything. And as well, if you got yourself an iPhone and or an Android, do yourself a favor, download the FTX app. Stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrencies and NFTs. I am your host, Gaddis TV. What's going on, y'all? And let's get to it.
Well, you don't have to go there.
And yeah, we are live and direct. So first off, I want to say thank both of y'all for coming on and take some time out of y'all's evening for sharing a little about what y'all do have going on. So thank you both.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
For sure, for sure. Usually how we do start it off, for the people that don't know kind of who y'all are or what y'all have going on, a quick background on the both of you. Doesn't matter who goes first. Really just how did you find crypto in general? You know what I mean? And then how did you find Solana?
Sure. I'll jump into it. I mean, I'm sure a handful of the Thug Birds know me as used to be GC Birdman, now Basquire, but go by Mike. It's a lot easier. Um, so yeah, I mean, I found crypto. Unfortunately, it wasn't in like 2014 when my buddy came up to me and said, "Hey, bought me $500 to build this mining computer." I was like, "No, it's not going to happen." So it was several years after that, and got into just when the turn was happening. It was really got into it probably like 2 years ago, and started into crypto scene, having fun with it, and sort of fell into the NFT scene on Ethereum, which was interesting. Cost me five over five five figures in gas, which was fun. But that kind of pushed me over to Solana. Also, the community on Solana was just better vibe for me. I've been here since in the Solana scene since like last fall, and yeah, picked up a Thugbird. I missed out on the mint, but got it right on secondary when those marketplaces you didn't know what you were buying, and yeah, been just sort of taking it all in.
Nice. What about yourself, Lance?
Yeah, so I've been in crypto since 2016. I bought a coffee and some pastries for some friends at the Bitcoin Cafe in Prague, and a couple years later, I was like, "Wait, Bitcoin? I got some of that somewhere." So I had like the original blockchain wallet, and
Nice.
the change from my coffee purchase was worth like I don't know, it wasn't a lot. It was probably like less than $1,000, but it was enough to get my attention.
Hella strong.
Yeah, yeah. So I got into alts as soon as alts started proliferating, and I really sold the top on accident to buy a house. So that was kind of my first dip into my first dip and kind of my second uh, dip, which was kind of a big win. And so yeah, also like Basquire, I are you doxxed or not?
You can say Mike. I don't care. Mike is
Just like Mike, I got into NFTs a little over a year ago, and yeah, actually was really just loving Thugbirds. I had a buddy of mine who was just like this crazy day trader who was like, dude, Thugbirds. He just talked about Thugbirds all the time. This was right when I got into NFTs. I didn't even know about Solana. I had like dabbled in ETH and lost my ass on gas just like Mike. And so he was like, oh man, Thugbirds. I would love to have one. He faded the mint, apparently. And then he'd been kicking himself ever since. And so I created this pixel art NFT collection, and one of the traits for a vice was Thugbird, and so it's a generative collection. So it minted out, and I found an NFT that looked exactly like me, and the vice was Thugbird, and I
Nice.
bought it on secondary. I bought my own NFT, and then I immediately went and bought a Thugbird, and I wanted the red beanie with the green background. That's like
Surprised you're
been,
not wearing the beanie right now.
I know.
Oh,
I
you
don't know
got
why.
one? I like it.
Oh, he always wears it.
So I'm just like, that's my forever thug, and I was super stoked to get it. And then got with G Mishra a bit, helped a little bit with tech committee and with the website. So yeah, I'm a lifer. Bought the top, and and I'm a
True.
ride into zero. So yeah, product designer by trade, been doing it about 10 years. And just met up with Mike through Thugs and some other DAOs that were in, and he pitched the idea for Yord to me, and I was just super stoked. I was like, I'm in. But before we go any further, can we just talk about your shirt for a second, Gaddis?
Yeah.
Because that thing is banging.
Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was like, let me get something. I'm like, so I went to the Solana Hacker House in Miami, and I was like, yo, let me get the Miami vibes. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I had a clean setup, but there's literally a bomb threat down there. A whole bunch of fucking shit happened and everything else. But I was like, you know what? Let me spice it up real quick. You know, let me feel good. So I appreciate the compliment on that, man.
It slaps, bro. It slaps.
Hell yeah. Um, you kind of mentioned in the name Yord. Is that how you pronounce it? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did that, I guess, initially start? Or and for someone who doesn't know what it is, what's a brief sentence on what it is?
Sure. So Yord, it actually is a play on DYOR, so it's your own research done. And I think it was probably the end of last year where I was really, struggling with friends and family who knew I was in the crypto scene and especially in the NFT scene when everyone heard about Bored Apes and was like, "Oh, you're in NFTs, you must be making money. Get me involved," or "Here's my money, put it in NFTs." And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do that, but maybe I'll try and onboard you." And, it's like a 2-3 hour conversation to do that. They have to earn their stripes, and then you're letting them go into the wild knowing that anything they buy is most likely going to zero. So you just don't feel comfortable about it. And I'd always been, I'm not a technical guy. Lance is the technical guy in the team. I don't TA on charts. I just buy hype. I buy, community. But buying community in the NFT scene was like incredibly challenging unless you know how to navigate Discord, unless you know the influencers or what accounts to follow. And it kind of hit me in the like a brick in the face end of last year of like there's no centralized repository for all the information you need about a project and also what the community's saying, like a Yelp or Rotten Tomatoes for NFTs. And what came to me was Wikipedia meets Yelp or Rotten Tomatoes for NFTs, and I was like, I'm gonna run with this. And I would say in January, February, I hired a developer, developed a really basic, version of it with functional backend and pretty embarrassing product, but I tested it with a few friends and realized there was something there. And the response was really positive. So I went out, tried to find someone to be more of a tech co-founder, and I didn't even know that Lance had this skill set. And we're in like the Thug DAO, we're in Taco DAO, and a bunch of other things. And Lance was like, "Me, I got this." I was like, "All right, let's do this." And through his network, we brought on a full stack team, overhauled the front end, and been working on it with Lance for like 2 or 3 months now, and it's going live in the next few days.
Nice. So working on the last, I guess, 3 months. When do you remember kind of when or kind of like where you, I guess, you thought of that thought, like, you know what, hey, I want to make Yord, in that essence of it? Was it you're out at a bar, or you in front of the computer, be like, yo, this is effing annoying trying to figure this stuff out? Do you remember that it moment, or is it kind of mush in that essence of it? Do you
It
remember?
was a little bit of multiple moments because, I had a group of friends and we kind of did a collective fund in crypto, and one or two of us dabbled into NFTs, and they would ask us, the other ones in the group, like, "Hey, like, what are you minting? Like, explain to me all of this." And it became a hassle, and it was a problem I wanted to solve. And then one of my closest friends I got into, and he unfortunately bought like Samo and Wolf at the top. It was terrible. But he really wanted to get into the NFT scene, and I did the whole onboarding. And by the end of it, I was like, you know what? I'm not okay with you buying NFTs. I'm not okay with leaving you on your own. And that's when it hit me. Is like, there needs to be something out there that can and I hate this term, bridge the gap of Web 2 to Web 3, because that's not what needs to get done. What needs to get done is a middle ground. And we like to joke and call ourselves a Web 2.5 company because we're building something that is not an NFT project. It's not on chain. There's wallet connection for, your profile and verification, but it's really a Web 2 product to allow people, people are comfortable and familiar with IMDb, with Yelp, with, Google reviews. That's a place for them to start, and they're comfortable with Wikipedia. So, showing them that, not saying like, hey, buy my NFT and then you'll have access to these resources. That's not how you're going to onboard people to Web3. That's a backwards model. So that's really what I was trying to solve for. And it sounded like once I started testing it, that other people were having that issue too.
Nice. With I'll let you, Lance, because I guess you found each other through the DAOs community, the Web3, you know what I mean, aka Discord. With I guess what made you interested into working with Yord, and what made you want to give your time? I don't know, money or anything like that, but like, what made you want to work with the team?
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, I was following Mike on Twitter, and I just thought he was hilarious. First of all, I mean, like his shit posting was just a whole nother level, and so I was like, yeah, this dude is cool. And then we both somehow ended up joining Taco DAO, and then we're in this like small Twitter chat with like just a bunch of alpha and stuff. So we ended up interacting a little bit more, and then I don't even remember exactly when, Mike. I don't know if you remember, but Mike shared something just like, "Hey, I'm trying to do this thing," and as soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't know, it just clicked for me. I mean, I knew as soon as he described it that it was just this massive opportunity in the market, and it just kind of baffles my mind a little bit how no one has tackled this yet. And so, and I think I know why. I mean, like, we're all a bunch of degens out here just trying to make money, trying to flip, trying to, get the hottest alpha and stuff. And I think a lot of times we get a little bit myopic and a little bit tunnel vision in terms of like seeing the bigger picture. Like even our exchanges are a hot mess when it comes to like user experience. Like that's my area of expertise, right? So like all the Web3 products that I use, I'm
Nitpicking everyone. You're
surprised.
like, hold on.
Dude, I'm surprised if there's good UX. Like Orca is a great exception. The founder of Orca, she's from like IDEO or something. She's like a beast with design. So that's like one exception. You go to Orca and it just works perfectly and seamlessly, and you do all the things you need to do. And so yeah, so as soon as Mike was like, he just described it in a very simple manner of like, oh, Yelp for NFTs, and it just like, I don't know, as soon as I heard it, like the wheels started turning in my head, and then we had one or two conversations initially, and as I talked to Mike about it, it just all the possibilities on top of possibilities started just coming out as we conversed. And so I felt like there was a moment where I was just like, yo, let me come on and help you out. I don't care if you pay me, maybe give me a little couple points of equity or something. Give me an NFT or whatever, right? Like, let's do this thing. Let's get after it. Because I could kind of see a path towards capturing a big chunk of market share and like helping people have a better journey, to NFTs than I had, and like all of us had, right? We all just kind of like jumped in, and that's how we learned. Like we learned by getting rugged. Like I got rugged almost immediately when I got into NFTs. My buddy sent me a link for a what was that crazy ETH project that was all 3D? It was kind of like Drippies, but it was like
I
before
don't know.
that.
Honestly, God, I don't know if right off the rip.
RTFK, RTFK, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah,
knew that meant.
he sent me a link to a mint, and it was a wallet drainer.
Oh,
And I just ate. I clicked on it and I just clicked mint and it was like gone.
Boom.
Damn.
So anyway, I just feel like I don't know, there's a visceral feeling when you capture the essence of someone's vision. You feel it, right? You like feel it up here and you're like, okay, I can get into that. Like that's something I can get behind. That's something I can help realize that vision.
No, 100%. Kind of funny story. I didn't know what the hell a burner wallet was until like 3 months afterwards. And honestly, Thugbridge was my
Right?
first, basically mint. I remember that because it was my day off and my buddy, because I think it was like no shit. My buddy had with Degen, I think apes for a while, and then he sold it like at the 80 when it was all crazy. I'm like, bro, the hell? I'm like, man, maybe I should, because I'm not the best trader. I don't got a lot of money as well. So, I'm like, hey, I'm a holder. So I'm like, I don't want to be flipping for like $1.50. I was like, let me try and spend $100, maybe wait a week. And then minting honestly, the one Thugbird I have is the alien. I'm like, so I knew about the crypto punks on Ethereum. I was like, let me see what's up. And then I bought Soul Bears, which, what happened with that one. And that was the one I was like, bro, this community's fucking popping. Like, yo, this shit is strong. And then, what happened after that.
But you know what's funny is people who join the community now don't know what happened. And they're doing so, and I was in a space with them the other day actually, and I asked them this question because they're I forget Soul Bears Revolved or whatever they're calling it. And I asked them, I said, for the people who are just joining the community right now, they see your new project coming out. How are you telling them the history? Because like the history can't be just the text in a Discord somewhere, like that's hidden somewhere. How does someone know that? They might see your project and be like, "Oh, this is awesome," and they don't know anything about it. So that's what we're trying to solve. Also, this helps those newbies and the existing community be like, "Here's all the historical information that the team is supplying on this Wikipedia type page. It's not us supplying it. We're giving these dynamic forms for the team to fill out that creates their profile page." And to me, like that is just like another aspect of how does that not exist? How does like a centralized repository not exist?
No, and you are honestly totally right, because I guess, because even myself, I always think of like, hey, I said the little guy, the person like you just said, don't know the information, and I blew it off like, oh, and you know what it is, acting like everyone who is gonna listen does know, but that is a very honestly very good point, honestly, that you make, that it doesn't matter if it's the Bears or a different project, if and something like that can honestly make shit, that can make a project stronger in general, because then it shows the true transparency on, hey, this happened, not compared to, we don't talk about that, hey, just look for it. So
But yeah, I mean, like look at like DGOTS. Like people joining that wouldn't know the history of Frank. They're just joining it because they know who Frank is. People who were here in the fall know how Frank got involved and what they've done, and like to take that and support Tom, same sort of thing. People don't know the history there who are joining this. They just hear these names, and that should be known. That if you're investing in this, if it's like you got, it's like where you have one, you don't want to day trade, you don't want to be like that. You just want to believe in that community. Well, how do you believe in that without having that information?
no, 100%. To get down to the nitty gritty then, for with what y'all are providing. One, because I'm the type of person, I'm always scared of legal this, legal that, blah 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 blah. We all be worried about your own research done in that essence of it, or is it just how does that play onto it in the legal world, or is that even
Sure.
something you've thought about?
I don't think I disclosed this at the beginning. I'm actually a corporate transactional attorney, been practicing for well over a decade. Represent small, mid, large size businesses in all different industries. For this, we're not providing, outside of the analysts who are hiring as contractors who are giving an assessment of a project, but not financial advice. We're not providing anything actually. The community is giving a score similar to Yelp. If someone gives a bad review on Yelp, no one's suing Yelp. If someone says, "Oh, it's the best restaurant in the world," and they go to the restaurant and it's a bad restaurant, they're not going to blame Yelp for that. It's the reviewer. So this is all community sourced reviews, and then we're contracting with a curated list of critics, and there'll be a critic review as well. And then the information that's put on the profile pages for all the teams, that comes directly from the teams. So that's not from us either. So it's really just a platform for the community and the projects to provide information and, show the value of the community and the transparency from the projects.
Nice. And honestly, it totally makes sense as well. And it might be some simple questions. I'm infamous at asking the simple questions, but on the sense of, you got the critics, and I've kind of read it through, and so we'll get down to it on there. But how are the critics chosen on that? Because I'm sure the person that's maybe just now coming in listening, doesn't matter if they're clicked randomly spotting the podcast, but they're like, all right, what's going on here? What and how do y'all not determine, but what's the proper word? I guess decipher if someone's trying to do it. Yeah, there we go. Detect. If someone's just trying to fluff their own bags, things like that. Because I mean, yeah, we can all say we're good, but if some project's like, hey, we'll give you 25,000 ETH, that'd be some crypto, ETH money. But how do y'all stop that? How many critics are there? How are those people chosen?
Do you want to take that one, Lance?
Sure. Yeah. So really, some of the critics or analysts, as we like to call them, they're our friends. They're people we trust. They're people that we've known for a while, and those will probably be like the first group of folks that we get on there. We've also got folks that the community or the scene, like the Solana scene, really trusts and really cares about their opinion. So really kind of bringing in a good mix of folks that are not just like ballers, not just, folks who have like crazy bags or whatever, but also folks that are a little more low key that, maybe they come from different worlds. Like Mike comes from the legal world. Maybe somebody comes from a traditional trading world and they'll bring their own unique perspective on a project. Somebody will come from the tech scene like myself and they'll say, well, I can judge the design of this project's website and I can comment on that from an expert point of view. So we want to bring in a group of folks that are diverse, that have, unique opinions. Because, I mean, Mike says something that really resonates with me a lot about this. He says, when you get on a site, you don't look at the 1-star reviews and you don't look at the 5-star reviews. What you really care about are the 2 and 3-star, because those are the ones that are going to be honest people that aren't assholes that are just pissed off about something, and they aren't shills that are trying to pump their bags. And as humans, we have this really incredibly innate bullshit detector. Like, we know when people are legit. We know when we're reading a review on Amazon and somebody misspells some words, that adds credibility to the review, because you're like, oh, a bot didn't write this. Like, it's like our spidey sense is just like tingling when we read something that's inauthentic or disingenuous. So I think trying to get a diverse group of folks in, compensating them for the reviews that they write at a flat rate, so there's nothing funky about it. It's not like one guy gets more than the next. But that's just kind of the approach. Mike, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, one other thing is on the review forms, we also require that they disclose whether they're a holder, former, current, non-holder, and also their affiliation, if any, with the project, as an advisor, as an owner, not affiliated, as a consultant. And so we require the analyst to do that. There's also going to be wallet connection, which if they have one of the NFTs in their wallet, it'll show it as a verified review, and that'll apply for the analysts or the community as well. And on to Lance's point, like, we are really looking for a diverse set of individuals, not just like the influencers who, you take their opinions or their tweets with a grain of salt, or you're just following them for hype. But there's accounts that have 2, 3, 4,000 followers who people respect those opinions. They turn to those. These people are already providing threads in the space, maybe on projects they don't even own. They just want to better the ecosystem. And there's individuals who do that. We want project devs, we want artists, but we're going to keep the list pretty small, and it's a hand selected list. So initially it's only going to be like 15, 20 at the gate. I don't imagine it ever being more than 100. And they might cycle through also. It's not a lifetime gig. If someone isn't providing value, if people aren't receptive to their reviews in the community, because you can interact with the reviews similar to Yelp. You can upvote them, downvote them, and flag them as spam even if you think that they are. And if people aren't looking at those reviews, if the analyst isn't providing reviews, we'll find somebody else who wants to do that, because there's so many individuals in the community that want to give back in that way.
That's right. Yep.
No, 100%. And I was reading, so you're gonna have like the literally just upvote, downvote, things like that, and it's gonna be, I guess, and not trending, but read that way, where it's more valid, on that essence of it. And I know you said you all have like the most people picked right now. Again, I told you we're probably gonna be giving it out, going live on it on Sunday. In general, maybe the people that are listening, they're like, they're that 500, follower, 2,000 follower, bought it up 4,000, 100 million, which you're not going to get them. But the people that are listening that might want to, I guess, what are y'all looking for? Not necessarily are y'all hiring, that essence of it, but like what qualifies someone to qualify to work with y'all?
Yeah, so we've been actively going through that process. I had an hour-long phone call with someone today who's committed to it, who, as Lance sort of said just a minute ago, and it made me feel the feels when he said, when he spoke with me and just resonated with him. I spoke with this analyst today, and I've looked at his Twitter, I've looked at what he's doing to give back. He wrote, like a guide to NFTs just himself, not to pay. No one paid him for it. He just did it and put it out there, and he does it on projects, and he just wants to help people out, and he doesn't care, and he's great at it. And I had what was supposed to be a 20-minute call. It ended up being like an hour and 15 minutes. And that's it. He's on. And he connected through me through another mutual contact. And that's how we're sort of doing it right now. We're reaching out to a few people that we've had as prospective candidates, and then other people who have seen what we're building and have shared with us, said like, hey, I'm interested. And we ask for their experience. They share reviews they've written, whether for DAOs or other, podcast things or threads that they've done, and we're analyzing them, like I said, handpicking them to see what fits. And they might not make the cut right now, but they'll stay on the list as we continue to grow, because I don't want like 6 of the same people who are going to provide the same exact type of review right now. That's not going to benefit us.
No, 100%. So speaking of reviews, if the people that are watching as well in general, are these going to be the actual like reviews that would be on there? Just the team, dev, community, innovation, utility. Is it always 1 out of 5, or is this an example, or is this how, like, say I'm not working for y'all, I'm just going to y'all's site? Is this what I'm going to see that way, or how does that work? What is that?
Yeah, so that's the review form. So like as if you were going to do like a Yelp review. Yelp only asks for a 1 through 5 star review, and that's a little ambiguous. And some people might leave like 1 or 2 words in the commentary. This is, makes it a little easier for people who are leaving reviews who don't feel like leaving commentary. There can still be value to their review, because they might say 5 stars on the team and devs, 1 star on the art because it's, some pixel or, some, like Joe Schmoes. Devs, I'm into that project. I think Function is doing something very interesting there. They're building something really unique. The art looks like crap. It is what it is, but it's not about the art. But that's how you're going to score it. And that gives at least a little insight into what people are saying, what the potential is, what they've accomplished. Because I think that's a big thing in this space. People come out the gate saying, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Great potential. What have you accomplished?
Yep.
No, 100% on that question. Maybe, I don't know, technical, or I don't know who's better with numbers. I don't even know what this one. But honestly, why would it be not me? Why is it 5 stars? Is it easier to get numbers 5 stars compared to 10 stars, or is it because humans in general are just too lazy to, figure out if they want to do 1 through 10? On a simple, I guess not simple question, why 5 stars? Why is that better than a different number?
Yeah, so we were thinking about the different kind of rating mechanisms, and 5 stars works well because 1, it's conventional, so people carry around a convention or an understanding of the idea of 5 stars. So 5 stars as a rating system has been around for a long time. As I understand it, it came out of Hollywood, and it was just kind of like this way of, rating a film, right? And it's persisted as a convention for decades. So there's something kind of deep about it that I don't quite understand. But I do know that we built on top of it something called a Likert scale. And so a Likert scale is 1 to 5 uh, way of rating something. And typically it's used in something called the NPS scale, which is a net promoter scale. And basically that 1 through 5 gives you the likelihood that you will recommend something to someone else. So it's a really interesting mechanism, and there's some flaws with the NPS rating system as a whole. But as we're capturing 1 through 5 across these different dimensions, we believe we're going to get some really interesting data. And because it's on a scale of 1 to 5, and we have a lot of um, kind of templates already set up for the Likert mechanism, it's going to be a really easy way for us to capture and make sense of large amounts of data at scale. So that was a long answer, but that's the short answer.
No, 100%. And honestly, NPS people that I'm sure working in the corporate offices and stuff, they know exactly what it is. So,
you know about it.
yeah, no, unfortunately, I do. Hopefully, my boss doesn't see this. What's up? But with the, I wrote like little notes and everything when I was at work actually. But like on the, and I think I heard on someone ask something about that on Twitter Spaces as well. With like burner wallets, is it going to be people that are reviews? Are those only people that will like have wallets on there, or like say if I'm a rugger, you know what I mean? I'm like, making some stuff up and I got wallet over here, and I build myself up to, get the likes, get the trust from everyone else. Are there ways, I guess, to kind of stop that, get around it, or is it for the most part whoever's connecting the wallets is actually people working for y'all reviewing?
Yeah, so, one thing that we really wanted to have in the functionality was that anyone can use, like, come and browse the site and use it, like Yelp, like Rotten Tomatoes, like IMDb, and obtain that information. The resources that the team provides, they can view the scores from the community, from the critics, they can go to critic profiles, community profiles, and get all of the information. The second they want to leave a review, they have to connect their wallet, and that creates their profile. So similar to like a Yelp profile, where you can have a profile picture, you can put in your name, your bio, and it tracks all of your reviews. So someone can I could click on Lance's name if he left a review once, see his profile page, and see all the reviews he's left. So I can see if he's, someone who just fuds bags or is just pumping bags or just is leaving one review and that's it. And, is not someone who's going there and actually, giving back to the community and just had one purpose to come there. So I think the fact that there's the wallet connection that is required for the review is the first line of defense. And then the second line of defense is, looking at those profiles and seeing what those individuals have done historically with other projects, other reviews.
No, I heard that, and it makes sense honestly as well with that. With kind of stuff I'm looking at with the candlesticks, certified blue chips, things like that. Where I guess is that going to be on like the regular site under each, I guess like project there? And is that from the reviewers? And I guess I can read it out for people that aren't watching. What the green candlestick is 60% of the reviews that are positive. Red candlesticks is 60%. What that are not positive. And the blue chips, 90% or higher of all just, I guess, positive reviews. Is that overall correct?
Yeah, so if it has a trending score, so similar to like what you see on Rotten Tomatoes, where there's a like a gray smushed tomato or a red tomato or then certified fresh. So if it's a trending downward score of 60% or lower from the community, there's two separate scores. There's community score and the analyst score, and both of them will have that diagram next to them. So after all the reviews are, aggregated for a certain project, it comes up with a percentage score. So even though you're giving star reviews, a percentage score is displayed as the total score that a project has. So if it's below 60%, they'll have a red candlestick, so a red graph down. If it's above 60%, they'll have a green graph. If it's above 90%, they'll have that stamp of approval, the certified blue chip, our version of certified fresh.
Heard that. And then with you just mentioning the analyst scores and the community scores. Can you just give us honestly a quick breakdown on what they each are, and then I guess how y'all combine them together in that essence of it?
Lance, why don't you jump on that?
Sure. So we don't actually combine the analyst and the community score. They're two different numbers. So if you're looking at a project, it's gonna show you all the way up at the homepage from like promoted projects and just like little cards that are, giving you a little card to tap on to jump to that project. They're going to give you those two numbers. And so you'll be able to see at a glance what the community versus the analyst score is. And we think this is a really great way to just kind of give someone an immediate view of where that project is kind of trending across those two different kind of touch points of analyst versus community. So essentially the way it's going to work is like Mike was saying, we're going to gather all the scores from those stars, and then we're going to crunch those numbers, convert them into a percentage, and that's going to display there as the kind of cumulative analyst and cumulative community score.
No, I heard that. I was thinking of a small little dumb joke because I'm great at those. You should just take off the glance, put a lance on there. Um, so with Yord, I mean, where do y'all see y'all's vision? And of course, in the crypto world, it's crazy to think it in advance like that. But like y'all said, y'all aren't. So better question, y'all aren't an NFT project. Y'all aren't minting anything. It's just a web, like you said, 2.5 model. So the web 3.0 degens can have a little bit more access and clarity on what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, so for the current community, it gives you one place to go to, and we're not displaying any like data or analytics on our website. We'll have links to that because there's so many resources right now, and people have their preference. Some people go to Solana Floor, some people do Hello Moon, some people do, there's 100 of them right now, and you know we're not putting that in on our the profile page for the projects. That's too much information for someone who is just going there to understand a project to take in at one time. We'll have links to that. We'll have links to marketplaces. We'll have links to the project's website. What we're going to have on the webs on their profile pages is actually all the information that's not on chain and all the information that you really want to have, and even some of us don't have. And some of the required information in our key facts section, things as simple as mint date and mint price, but also things that people don't always think about and overlook. Like, did they change the supply at mint? Did they change the mint price? What were the parameters for whitelist? How many whitelist tokens were given? How many tokens were saved for the team? Things that I want to know before, how long did it take to mint out? I want to know these things, and I can't get that information anywhere right now unless the team provides it, or unless I hear it and it's potential hearsay. And, unless I do a deep dive with Discord, I've been there since day one, that information is almost impossible to find. So we're asking the team for that information, and then bios on the team, history about the project, affiliated DAOs, affiliated projects, all this information in one place. Because most of these projects, a lot of them don't even have websites. If they do have websites, maybe they're like VR like experiences, or they're other types of dynamic websites that just don't have the information that you want to make an investment. Like, they're cool, fun, but there's nowhere for that. So that to me is really to benefit the existing ecosystem. I think if you're really in the space, you know who to follow, you know who to listen to, you have your people. So the scores, I think, will be beneficial for them to a degree, but I know who I listen to. I know who I don't listen to, and if someone's fudding, I know it's actual FUD or not. But the scores, to me, are really to help those people who are coming into this space for the first time, saying like, oh, wow, this is trending, or this has 10,000 reviews, or this has 5 reviews, and this has a 90% score, but a 5% analyst score. Like, what's that about? And they can understand that while getting all that basic information that they need.
Yeah, and
No,
let me just tack onto that too.
definitely.
But one of the things that I think is going to be really spicy is uh, the upward pressure on projects to provide the lore, to provide the backstory. I, I don't know what happened with thugs before I bought in and joined the Discord. I still don't. And I've been a holder for like almost a year now.
I got to make a YouTube video. It sounds like all right.
You should. You should. Go viral. But
Keep
not
going. No, I
like
understand what you're saying. Yeah, go on.
what I'm saying, right? Like and here's what's going to happen. What I hope happens actually. Project's going to get on there. They're going to give their, nice edited, clean version of how things went down. And we're going to be like, yo, are you sure that's all you want to tell folks?
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's all.
Then you're going to get the folks who were there in the beginning, the OGs, and they're going to leave their reviews in a respectful way, but they're going to say, this is actually what went down. And if they're telling the truth, you're going to see a bunch of upvotes on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to get interesting. And what it's going to do, I hope, is it's going to keep folks honest. It's going to raise the level of integrity in the scene, and it's going to allow people to dip in to a project page and get the full spectrum analysis of what's going on, like what's the good, bad, and ugly. And like you mentioned Frank earlier, Mike, it's like Frank went through a lot of tough stuff, man. He had to like grind it out. He paid his dues. And nobody knows, to Mike's point, like what kind of struggles he went through. And maybe on DOXXED's like Yord page, maybe he's not going to put all that stuff because he's not trying to like, whine about it, right? He's not going to mention any of that stuff. But the OGs are going to get on there and they're going to be like, hey, respect, because back in the day, I remember this going down, and that going down. And, Frank was a strong leader in that scenario. Or he failed and he admitted his mistake. Like, that's juicy stuff, man. That's stuff that people will like pay to see it. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. We're recognize real. It's a one thing to own up to your mistakes if you are changing. You know what I mean? So no, 100% on that. Question, a harder question for y'all, because I'm pretty sure I read it, and you kind of mentioned as well that the information that y'all are getting is going to be gathered and given from the teams, or as from the projects. As a project, is it a cost? I think I read it was a cost to do it with y'all's service, and then to sell a project. I know y'all thug birds, but I got to keep it real with everyone. Why would a project want to go with y'all and use y'all, and maybe not partner up, the correct word there, but use y'all's information, y'all's yord for other people?
So I think the ecosystem is putting pressure on projects now for transparency. And a lot of the projects we are going to manually list ourselves with just, basic information, and allow the community and the analysts to start reviewing them before the project has come and claimed their page. So they'll see reactions, they'll see activity on their page, and people, responding to things, and they're going to want to interact with those, reviews, because the projects can respond to reviews like Yelp, like a restaurant or business owner can respond to those reviews. And they're going to want to put their story out there and their information, and that's, to me, a benefit for them, because they can point to that as a single location where everything is, and then hopefully eventually point to the scores as well, saying like, hey, look at these scores that the community is giving us. Don't just look at the wallets, the floor price, that's only one piece of the story. Look at what the people have to say about our project, about our team, about what we've accomplished. Or look what they said a year ago and look what they're saying today. And, that's why I have this, I come from a traditional background. I'm not doing this on a 3-6 month timeline. I'm looking 6-10 year timeline. I know these NFT projects aren't going to be the same thing, down the line. I understand that, but NFTs are here to stay in one form or another. And there's 7 some odd billion people out there who are not in the crypto scene, and definitely not in the NFT scene. If we want to get that adoption, they need to be familiar in a way like this and be able to get that information. And if, projects start becoming these true brands that they're claiming that they're going to become, and maybe 1 or 2 of them actually do besides Bored Ape, people are going to want to know the history about that. They want to know the information about that, and want to hear, from the community more about that. And even for Bored Ape, like, yeah, you can go on their website. Have you ever been on their website? It's trash. It has no information about anything, and you can, because it's the biggest project. There are actual like articles out there on Bored Ape, of course, but try and find many articles on Cats on Crack. Try and find many articles. You find a few on DGods now because they're so big and doing so many things. But even some of the well-respected projects, there's no, like, if you Google search them, you're not getting anything.
Yeah, I'll just take on that too. You asked a question earlier, Gaddis, about kind of the decentralized versus centralized approach, and I want to just touch on that because I think it's important to mention that the reason why something like this doesn't exist yet is because it's kind of like the message is the medium, so to speak. We're living and breathing a decentralized um, world, right? The technology that we're using is by nature decentralized. So I think people expect everything to do with that technology to also be decentralized, and I think the decentralized ethos or ideology is a great one. Like I love the idea of decentralizing the power structure, so to speak. That censorship resistance, I think, is awesome. Uh, but at the same time, it's like we need a centralized place to learn about a decentralized world. So that's kind of what Yord is. It's like Yord is the one-stop shop for learning about all of these things. It's like as soon as they mint, they're on chain forever. So how great would it be to be able to discover a project on chain and then immediately find a centralized repository of information to learn everything about that project. So just want to throw that out there.
No, 100%. And a couple more questions because I just look at the time. I think we're already past 45 minutes, so hopefully I ain't getting y'all in
I
trouble
could
yet.
go on forever about it.
No, I'm loving the conversation as well. Honestly, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And hopefully, whoever is listening, I'm sure they will as well. Um, with the damn, I just fucking forgot what I was gonna say as well. Um, I was make up another one now as well on this one, and I'm sure it'll come back to me on there. With okay, there we go. With the projects, because just like I'm looking at the screen here, the Moonbirds, it's gonna be Solana. You said this is gonna be all cross chains. Is it on every single chain in general? And then maybe dumb question for the non-smart people like myself. How are y'all getting that information? What's in like the repositories? Is it people's tweets from this and this that y'all found and got from some API to do it on here? How, and I guess don't give all your information out if competitors out there. But how do y'all get that information to y'all, or is it y'all are fucking smart as hell and just typing away? How do y'all get that information?
Well, so it's going to be community driven. So we know the blockchains that have, big NFT communities. I mean, there's 3 or 4 that are the, leaders right now. Obviously, ETH, Solana, Tezos, Near's competing a little bit, kind of went down recently. And a few
I know
others
Gat is
that are
one.
popping up
Verify.
right now. And, we are a database for all this information repository. So, we're going to be targeting initially ETH, Solana, Near, Tezos, because that's just the most popular. But if a, a new blockchain comes around that says we're going to focus solely on NFTs and they reach out to us, we can easily add them, and that's on our website. There's a button that says add your project and it sends a ping to us saying like, hey, this is my project. This is what blockchain it's on. This is the name of it. This is my role in the project. We verify them. And so long as they're all verified, we send them that dynamic form for them to fill out, which will create their profile page.
I heard that. Kind of to change gears just a little bit because again, I keep on saying the last couple questions, but I want to say I always ask this question. Doesn't matter if it's a project or an artist coming on. What were some of the hiccups y'all have had along the way that either one you knew as a company or I guess utility that you knew you were going to run into, and or what were some of the hiccups y'all ran into that you weren't expected, and how did you overcome them? Or
What
were
have you
there
seen so
anything?
far, Lance? What have you seen? What have been the hiccups for you so far?
I mean, it's such a new venture, Gaddis, to be honest. I mean, I think we're going to we're gonna learn a lot. I mean, we're basically testing a prototype, we're building a product from scratch. I mean, we've got really lucky so far. It's been like this uh kind of wind at our backs so far. So I mean, like knock on wood, but starting anything is hard. It's going to be, about building great relationships and trust and doing that internally, doing that externally, and just, yeah, I think there's this book called Operating at the Speed of Trust, and I think that's really going to be so critical for us because I mean, even Yelp, like you look at Yelp's backstory, like they had struggles, man. You still got mom and pop businesses. It's like they get one star review and they're done, man. They're just like toast, So we want to be really careful to minimize any potential harm to like a small project. We want to help people, do great things, do great work, and we want to make sure that there's uh, transparency and a high level of ethics and it's just going to require a lot of trust from the community. It's going to require us being very transparent and forthright because again, people can smell it if it's inauthentic, if it's shady, if it's dodgy. They're going to avoid it.
I want
um,
to jump on that. I'd been bootstrapping this, since beginning of this year, and the trust, the transparency, the honesty is really hard in this anonymous space. And I struggled to find someone that I felt I could trust initially. This was before I reached out and tapped into the DAOs to help me out. I went the traditional routes, and ultimately I ended up for the first iteration because I didn't know what I was creating. I didn't know how much of an outlay I wanted to put into it. I didn't have anyone else, and logging in with me every day doing it. At first, I hired a guy on Fiverr, and he did the back end for me initially, and I created something that was trash, but it worked.
Started,
And I
yeah.
was like, this is it. And then I had to sort of, make some uneasy communications in the DAOs to ultimately connect with Lance and with others, where it's like putting myself out there and reaching out to these people who I don't know who are on the other side of that. And our first communication, Lance and I, was right on a web chat, and with video, and like immediately it clicked. And that, like, building that level of trust is really hard in this space. So that's been the biggest hurdle for me. Um, and yeah, just the day-to-day hurdles of, we're building out the team right now, or looking to do that. And before then, it's been the two of us, and you know, it's getting to that point of like we're there. And I don't know, like I said it to you this morning, Lance. I think I was just like just moving a million miles an hour right now. It's awesome. It's awesome.
So
yeah.
so y'all are launching y'all site and everything. You said officially this coming up Tuesday. Is that correct? Or did I?
We're not, it's gonna be a soft launch, so whenever we feel comfortable that it's ready to go, we're just gonna, put it out there and start testing it. So we're not making a big deal about it. We're just gonna, once it's live and ready to go, it's gonna be public and there for people to use.
I heard that tomorrow 3 o'clock. Just joking, y'all. Just bullshit. Um, with the, I'll make it the last couple questions. I'm looking at the time. I got you at 54 minutes right now. With the launch that y'all are going to be having whenever it is done. What is what is the thing that you're most excited about? Both of y'all? Is it just going live, or is it seeing your product, your baby, going on to people using it, or what is that when it's you and Lance, not on the podcast, and you're like, bro, I'm worried as hell about this, or I'm really curious to see how this, and this works. What are y'all's oof? What is y'all damn? Can y'all say?
You go
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, after building products for the last 10 plus years, I'm not really so much worried about how people are going to use the site. I'm more curious, and I'm really actually excited to hear about what they hate. I want to hear like what they see and it just pisses them off. And I also am really curious to see how they use the product in a way that we don't expect. And so we're going to be setting up some, analytics and stuff to help us capture as much of the user's behavior as we can, and we'll try to, put some low-key surveys out there, even, pay people some dust or something to like get their or some crack. Yeah. The E.
Maybe some random alpha. Hold on, what's going on here, guys? Oh shit. Okay.
Like crack. You know what I mean? Like we just want to get uh people's gut level kind of feedback, and we're just going to learn about how we can improve this product for them, and how we can just like encourage a massive flow of information to just and data to get populated on the site. Because I mean, the faster that happens, that's also something I'm looking forward to. If I'm looking forward to anything, it's like just seeing that data populate, and then building our team, bringing on someone who's like a data analyst and can help us make sense of that data, and show it to the community in a way that helps them make great decisions.
If you couldn't tell, Lance is the more analytical and technical one. With that, that's what he's excited for, and I applaud that. I'm more cut and dry. I mean, I know at my core how this is going to change the ecosystem and the landscape. And when I have conversations with people, that resonates with them. I mean, I loved how it resonated with Lance. I was fortunate enough to have like Frank in a Spaces last night with me, and it resonated with him. And every person I talk to, it does, and I can't wait for it to resonate with like the entire ecosystem, which I know it's going to do. I know it.
I love it.
Right there.
You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yord. I was gonna say baby, but it's just yord. You know what I mean? To wrap
on your mic just then.
Do it. Yeah, I got a little mixer. I got a little here. Y'all can't hear it, but I've been clapping every once in a while for y'all. A little so we getting some stuff going on. You know what I mean? I don't want to hype myself up. Listen, it's good though. You know. But with the, I guess honestly, last question, we went over kind of a lot of stuff, some simple stuff, some I guess not simple stuff to me. But was there anything that we haven't really gone over that y'all wanted to touch on, or something we haven't talked about, or anything I've relayed improperly? Any closing comments, concerns, caws?
Caw Caw for life. I mean, Thugbirds will be on there day one. Don't worry.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. On that note, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Stick around, kind of like beforehand. I'm gonna go ahead and end it. But again, thank both of y'all for coming on and taking some time out of y'all's evening and letting me and everyone else that will be listening and or watching what's going on. So I appreciate both y'all for taking some time out of y'all's evening.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for the great questions, guys. It was enjoyable, man.
Yeah, no problem at all. Stick around. I'll be right back. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what time it is. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 92. One more time, shout out to Yord. If you're not already, go ahead and add Twitter at Yord, and you will find them on there. Again, once again, if you're not already, follow us on Twitter at ThugBirds, ThugDAO, Twitter at ThugPod. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and follow us, Twitch, Amazon, Spotify, just about all the major platforms, y'all. Until next time, stay fresh, stay clean, stay positive. And one more time, y'all. Caw Caw!